Alf, we have an update on an old case, one that's come full circle, believe it or not, years and years in the making, but we have a guilty plea just filed for a 84-year-old Denver man. An $800,000 scam between himself and his co-conspirators. And essentially, what we saw here are fake cards. They were able to make a case of PSA slab that was good enough to get by, to be able to be traded in for other cards and so forth. It's wild stuff. Before I go even further, huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Pristine Auction. They've got another elite auction that's starting here over the next 4 or 5 days. Make sure to check it out. No reserves on all those items, whether it's sports memorabilia, sports cards, non-sports, pop culture items, all the good stuff over there at Pristine. And I've got a $10 off your first auction victory code down below in the video description. So make sure to check out my link and my promo code at Pristine Auction. Also, you've been thinking about submitting to PSA, $25 off your first submission, SCD25 promo code at the billing and shipping screen. And don't forget, a lot of different hobby promo codes down there in my video description as well as in the pinned comments to save you money. And so this update was brought to us by Will Stern over at collect.com. Make sure to check out that collect.com website. They have great articles, different hobby articles. And this is another one. Mayo McNeil arrested in Denver in 2023 and charged with conspiracy to commit wire fraud, falsely representing sports cards he was selling and trading as authentic and graded by PSA. They do have an excerpt of the emails in this article. How's that new holder project going anyway? And then he kind of makes mention to, are you going to send me the money or the card that I can sell? I'm sure you are still doing deals, but are not using me because you're afraid that I'm being investigated. Now, guys, this is how far this goes back. He recently pleaded guilty. What is it, 2025 now? He was arrested in 2023. We're talking about cards that were being sold in 2017 up and through 2019. That's what we're looking at. So a couple years dating back 5 to 7 years ago. Finally getting some justice here. There was someone that paid $4,500 for a PSA 10 Michael Jordan 86 Fleer. And you're probably thinking, like, $4,500, didn't they know that had to be wrong? Given the price today is what, 150 to 200,000. I haven't checked the price on those recently for 10s. Significantly more than 4,500 bucks. But if we go back to January of 2017 when this was sold, it was about a $30,000 card. So that shows you just how far a lot of these cards have come in 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And so you've got an instance here where you've got fake card and a fake slab. But the scary part again is that they're getting better and better with these fake cards, with the fake slabs. Now the 86 Fleer, there's a lot of reprints of that card flying around. And PSA does a really good job of catching them. But if you've got a fake slab, if someone's building out a fake PSA slab that looks pretty dang close to what one looks like, it is very easy for this to happen. One thing they were talking about in the article too is that these cards, some of these cards were traded for authentic Tom Brady cards. That's another kind of concern there, is it's not necessarily that someone is bringing these into a store or sending them to golden auctions to sell and then they're getting caught that way. This could be a trade night. For these scammers, if they're able to make these cards, trade them to unsuspecting hobbyists that wouldn't know how to tell the difference. And think about how many card shows and trade nights there are every weekend throughout the year. There is opportunity for scams to happen. And that's exactly where they were able to basically wash the illegal card that they made and then get into authentic stuff. No different than changing out dirty money. You have money that was not made in a legal way and then moving that into legalized, legitimate funds or goods. And that's a huge concern here because down the line, you could have someone that got that card, holds on to it, puts it in their PC for a few years, doesn't even realize that that is a card that is not real, it's a fake slab. Then they go to sell it down the line and they're being told, hey, this is fake. This isn't real. It's a huge headache. It's a huge problem. And so it's something that I know law enforcement takes very seriously. I know PSA works very closely with law enforcement on these sorts of things, probably a lot more often than we even know. There's probably quite a few other cases just like this one that take years to complete, years to make sure that you have all the evidence in place. But $800,000 is how much these guys earned in a relatively short period of time between himself and his co-conspirators. I would be shocked if this is the last story that we hear kind of this way, in this manner. It seems like every few months there's some sort of a weird story. On the Pokemon side, very rare cards, very rare early Pokemon cards, promo cards, right? They just found them and using some technology just found that these cards actually weren't printed in 1995. They were printed in 2024. And so if it feels too good to be true, maybe it is too good to be true. I think it also just speaks to the importance of really building out relationships with dealers and also just companies, having a good rapport with maybe a handful of dealers and companies that you really trust when buying sports cards, especially as you get kind of into higher levels of cards. If you're buying out of the dollar box, maybe it's not much of a concern to you. You start to put significant money into the hobby, whether that's in sealed product, singles, whether we're talking about sports cards or Pokemon, non-sports, whatever that is, you got to be really careful that you know exactly what you're buying because there are plenty of pitfalls out there. Friends, that's all I've got for right now. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I'll talk to you again later.